Hi there, everyone. Welcome to Chit Chat with Dorri. I'm Dorri Bland, owner of the Downtown Spa, located right here in Georgetown. Today we have some exciting guest speakers for you that are going to help us with our health, our wellness, try to sort things out so that we can be taking the correct vitamins, minerals, everything that we need to help our bodies. Even in anti-aging, all these vitamins and minerals help us at a cellular level. So today we have with us Rodolfo Rivas. He is a registered homeopath. He's had his practice for over 23 years. Over the years, he sorted out that many of his patients were lacking in nutrients. And everyone thinks that nutrients only involve vitamins, but vitamins are only part of the story. We need minerals. It's the minerals that take the vitamins where they need to go. So over his years of practice, he realized that many people were deficient in minerals and nutrients, vitamins. So he, in his quest to give his patients the tools for a healthier lifestyle, came upon something that is called the mineral tissue analysis. So what this does is give you a guideline to what you may be lacking in your minerals and vitamins. So I see now that we have Rodolfo Rivas joining us, and we also have our very own May Rodriguez, who is our holistic nutritionist. She does work out of the spa and underneath of Rodolfo. So Rodolfo, I just gave everybody a little brief intro about you, but why don't you take us away and tell us a little bit more about yourself, your practice, and how you came about using the hair tissue mineral analysis as a tool for your patients.
Thank you. Thank you for the invite. Believe it or not, this is my first time using Instagram. I thought this was just for my kids, and I had to run to my kid to say, how do you work this out? Because I couldn't get the camera going. How do I got into hair mineral analysis? Yeah, that's how old I am. I started when I was in school about 25 years ago. And once I graduated, I ended up going to a whole bunch of conferences, and I met Dr. Joe Wallach, who is a mineral doctor at that time. He has a background in veterinary medicine and obviously naturopathic medicine. And I was very intrigued on his lectures because he was talking about how people live for more than 100 years. And in my family, I have some people that have lived over 100 years.
Wow.
So after the conference, he pulled me aside and he said, I want to speak with you. And then to make things short, he basically says, your ancestors have always had been plenty of minerals in their diet. And that's why you guys tend to be like honey badgers that, life throws anything at you and you still survive. I'm originally from El Salvador, a country that was torn by war and a lot of corruption and so forth. But now the whole country is turning around, so it's a good thing. And then I just dived into all his research, and obviously I learned more about hair mineral analysis from different authors, and I got to do a whole bunch of just basically self-taught and going to different conferences. And what intrigued me is that this is definitely a very good tool to assess, not a diagnosis, because every individual has different dietary recommendations that they need to follow. This is where your epigenetics, your environment, your stress, your sleep patterns come into take into account. And that's where you need someone like me that can guide you step by step to say, this is what you need because these are your challenges. This is your, maybe deficiency or toxicity that you may have. And I think that's what we're going to be talking today, how to live with a lot of energy, focus, driven. And I see that in my practice. When you're in your early 20s, you're just finishing university, and then life says, okay, you got to perform, and the majority of people run out of energy to reach the top, so they burn themselves up climbing the mountain of success and not having the joy and the blissful to enjoy it.
Exactly.
And that's basically what we see now. That even young kids are taking energy drinks, and I'm like, man, when I was your age, I needed to burn my energy, not to have more. But it seems like that is becoming more and more an epidemic.
Absolutely. So, do you think with the way things have changed with our soil and our environment, our pollution, do you think this is one of the reasons why we are deficient in our mineral and vitamins in our bodies naturally now?
Yeah. So if you look at the research, it's not a secret. Different departments, the Department of Agriculture of the United States, and even here in Canada, has done extensive research in the soil. And we knew this since the beginning. I think it was 1950 in the United States that they did a study from the University of Texas, and they found that the consistently, because of factory farming, the mineral content in the soil has been going down and down.
Mm-hmm.
So as a society, we have developed a great technology to develop, more food production, but not quality.
Right.
And this is where Dr. Joe Wallach opened my eyes to says, just because you're eating organic, that does not mean that you're having the best, value for your dollar. You need to make sure that the minerals, that the food that you're having has the mineral contents to replenish, not just, what you need at the moment, but to build reserve, just like a bank account.
Right.
And this is what I have noticed, that even kids now have lethargicness. They have problem concentrating, behavior issues, hormonal issues at such a young age. And we never used to see that in, definitely, when I was alive.
Right.
And that's due to, mineral deficiencies, the overproduction or overuse of herbicides, pesticides, genetically modified food, but also, not a balanced diet. Processed foods, in my opinion, are not nutritious food.
No,
No, so
absolutely not.
that's the reason.
And I know that a lot of people understand vitamins.
Mm-hmm.
They'll get their vitamins, they're one a day, whatever the case. But a lot of people don't understand the importance of minerals. Like I was told years ago that the minerals are what transport the vitamins. So
Yes.
without your minerals, up to par, your vitamins, you're taking your vitamins and they're doing nothing.
Mm-hmm. Wallach puts it very simple. Obviously, he has his own business to run, but it's backed up by a lot of the research that he has done. It's 16 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, and 3 essential fatty acids. So when you look at any traditional diet, either anywhere in the world, either Japan or India or Russia or South America, they all have this traditions to make wholesome food. For
Mm-hmm.
example, when I grew up in Edmonton in my teen years, and I had very good friends with natives, and we used to go up north at Yellowknife, and the grandfathers and the elderly, they used to give us things that I'm like, what are we eating? And he says, just shut up, just eat it. And in one time that I went, I had a cold, and he gave me this piece of meat, and I'm like, I never seen this. And he says, just eat it. You'll see, you'll feel better. Anyways, I ate it, and it happened to be the adrenal glands of the animal.
Wow.
And the next day, I didn't have anything like that. And I said, what was that? He says, that was the adrenal glands from the animal. That's how we keep our body rich in vitamin C. And I'm like, oh, okay. I
Ah,
didn't realize that. But now that I look back and I'm like, wow, there's so much wisdom. But obviously, they made soup out of the bones. And the
right.
bones is what holds the minerals in animals. And you can see this for yourself when you eat a organically free range chicken and you put it in a soup. It has that flavor. But if you have a factory chicken, can boil it until for 30 minutes, and it doesn't have any taste. It doesn't have any. It has actually that antibiotic smell.
Right.
So, every tradition in every culture, ancient cultures, has had a way to replenish the minerals in one way or another, either by bone marrow soup, by making sure that they eat a lot of greens in the oceans, like the Japanese, seaweed. Back home we have different dishes from the sea and from the plants that are very rich in minerals. And one of the practices that I learned, I thought everybody did it, is growing up in the country in a farm, they would put the wood ashes on where you grew up vegetables. So because the minerals cannot be destroyed by fire, the minerals stay in the ground. So when we harvest the tomatoes, the cucumbers and everything, the onions and everything, those are very rich. And believe it or not, we never had to use any pesticides or herbicides because the plant produced their own terpenes, the old bioflavonoids and so forth, and that repel those bugs, right? It's a very different practice.
Yes. So, who would be like maybe everyone sounds like it, but who would be the perfect candidate to having this?
Sorry, you're breaking up.
Oh,
Sorry, I didn't get that. You were breaking up.
that's okay. Who would be the perfect candidate to take advantage of having a test like this done for them? By the sounds of it, it could be just about anyone and everyone. But how
Yeah.
would you know if you're, lacking in vitamin and mineral, other than maybe your lack of energy, or things can show up on your skin too, can't they?
Yes, they can. So to the answer to the first question, in my opinion, everybody. In my practice, I've been doing hair mineral analysis for about, I would say, more than 10 years clinically. Before that, I used to dabble in it, but you do need extensive training in order to interpret it.
Right.
It's not a diagnosing tool because you need that expertise of really paying attention what those, not just those minerals are, but also what the ratios are. So, for example, to answer the question of energy, the reason why a lot of people run out of energy is because they don't know how to replace their mineral that they require. So the basic minerals are calcium, magnesium, sodium, and potassium. When you are under a lot of distress, which is, stress turns into distress, you burn your adrenals out, which is adrenal fatigue, chronic fatigue. It has different names, fibromyalgia, and so forth. So that is at the end stage. But before that, you have, cramps, you have tightness of shoulders, headaches, letharginess, brain fog, and the list goes on depending on your genetic predispositions, sleep issues, right? So when you know how you are pushing your adrenals and not regulating, let's say, your sleep or your nutrition, then that's when you run into trouble. That's where you need someone like me that it says, okay, these are the results. This is what it means. This is what you have at this moment. Let's put you on a personalized treatment plan. And it has to be perfect. It has to be personalized because, for example, I'm almost 50, but I like to be active. So I sweat, my wife says you sweat like a horse. And it's because I'm a high oxidizer, right? So for me, I need more minerals than her, right? That she's a female. I need different mineral concentration, more magnesium in my age than, let's say, my son and my daughter. Because even though that we both like to go and do crazy stuff, that's the personalized amount that they need. So that's where you need to do that. Now, to replenish the lethargicness of the lack of energy that you have, it also have to consideration and this is a big problem because, for example, everybody in due to COVID, everybody has known that taking zinc is beneficial for you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the problem with zinc is the zinc in our language of hair mineral analysis, zinc is the male mineral, copper is the female mineral. So when you're taking too much zinc and not sufficient copper, and they have, an antagonistic relationship, too much of zinc is going to bring down your copper, and too much copper is going to bring down your zinc. So if you're a female and you're taking too much zinc, well, you may become a little bit too aggressive. Your concentration, your focus, your memory, it's not going to be there. You may have sleep issues, right, due to that. That's where you need to be personalized.
Exactly. And this is where we need to have someone like yourself and May set you on the right direction, the right path. We understand about the vitamins for sure, but there's so much knowledge that is available to us just going online, and we self-diagnose and we
Yeah,
get what we think we need, but maybe we're not getting what we need. We think we need that, but having the professional, give us the insight. And with my own personal experience, I had May, who's sitting there being so patient. Hi, May. Do the hair mineral analysis on me, and I'm like, oh, I think I'm in pretty good shape. Yeah, yeah. Well, I was told I had some deficiencies too, and calcium was a big one. And as we age, we don't want to be lacking in calcium for our bones and, shrinking and our skin and all the rest of it. So I found it to be very, very enlightening. So even though you think you might be, feeling pretty good and looking not too bad, there could be some underlying issue that if you catch it soon enough, then it's not going to turn into something. So I think it's
absolutely.
very good to, like you say, a tool that can help you have a better quality and live your life to the fullest for as long as we possibly can. If we can get to the
Mhm.
hundreds, hey, even better.
Yeah, it's the quality of life. It's not the quantity. I
Yes.
think that was Abraham Lincoln's slogan. It says it's
Yeah.
not the years that you live in this earth, but how much life you had in those years.
100%.
Um, and that's basically what we're looking for. Going back to a lot of the women's health, I find that there's a different way that men gather their energy, and there is a difference how female gather their energy.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking to this about with May the other day, and I said, as males, we can understand that being aggressive, being competitive, being hunters, and we're some people call it we're the dispensable gender because we go to war and do all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing too is that we process stress and distress very differently from women.
Mm-hmm.
So the classic example is cortisol. When you're under a lot of adrenal distress, if you do not regulate your cortisol, it will affect every aspect of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Women are 4 times more likely to accumulate cortisol than men.
Yes.
So, it's not necessarily that women are better or worse or weaker. No, no, no. It's just they need different ratios. So it's crucially that, for example, in my own culture, every time a woman gave birth, they used to give her this soup made out of bone broth, basically.
Right.
And I would ask, why do they have to do? And it's 40 days. For 40 days you can't touch your wife, and that. And I said, well, why is that? He says, because if she doesn't replenish the minerals that she has lost during the pregnancy, she will have a depression, which is called baby blues.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I'm like, interesting, because growing up, I saw the animals doing it.
Mm-hmm.
When a cat, we used to raise cattle and for milk, and we used to put a block of salt, and there were 2 blocks of salt. One when it was just salt, and the other one was rich with minerals. And every time the calf, wanted to look for the mummy was so busy licking the one with the whole minerals
Yes.
And I said, well, why is that? He says, because we need to give extra minerals so that you produce more milk.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
So now you can see that, if you go to your regular pet food store and you see the mineral concentration in your dogs, guinea pigs, cats formulas, they have more minerals than any infant formula
Oh,
by far.
Mm-hmm.
So we have been depleted from minerals right from birth.
right.
And that's the difference that I see now when I look at the hair mineral analysis. Says, no, you have been chronically deficient in minerals for a long time. No wonder your ability to be resilient
Mm-hmm.
is not there. Your hormones, your sleep, your stamina, your libido, all that.
It
So
affects everything.
it affects everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get May to come on because we're heading towards the end of our time. We could go on and on. I have like a list of questions about this long. Anyways, um, May, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and what we're going to be working together on here at the Downtown Spa?
Yeah, so basically, I had gotten into this for the same reasons, right? Into hair mineral analysis, but mostly into nutrition a while ago when I just saw the results of so many people, and there wasn't any like progression in their health, and so I seen the what you call is the desperation in people to get better, to want to get healthier.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided, at that point that there was something here that I had learned for most of my time, and I've always been very intuitive with myself. So I was like, okay, so there's a potential to, go out and help others. And
Mm-hmm.
so I got into this, and then I met Rodolfo actually at my place that I used to work at. And then for a while he's been mentoring me on hair mineral analysis, and he's actually created a program that he will be teaching to only practitioners. But he put me like under the knife for a few months there, and honestly, like, there's so much to learn, and there's so much, but I'm so excited to actually go and practice what I've learned, and come into your shop and do it once a week, where I can see people, sort of like on an hourly basis, where I can sit down for an hour and do an assessment.
Yes. So tell us what happens when you want to have this test done. Um, Obviously, it's good for everyone. There's no contraindications, like there's no
Mhm.
one person that shouldn't have it done. But can you tell us what you do in order to have the test?
Well, in order to have the test, so now what I usually ask is just for three pieces of hair from the nape, and one from the top, or two pieces from the nape and one from the top of the head, and it's literally just like a half an inch away from the scalp, a dime size. So I always say a dime size because that seems to be easier for people to understand. And then you put it in a little bag,
Yeah.
Ziploc bag. I usually just sent out the requisition, which is something that goes directly to the lab. And then you just enclose that in an envelope, and then the hair inside the Ziploc bag, and then you mail it out to the address that's at the very bottom of the requisition.
Okay, so the three different types of hair go into a baggie, mailed off
Mhm,
to a lab, and they do the analysis and send the results back to you. And then the client comes back to you and gets all the results and some form of okay, let's move forward with this
mhm,
and helping us to get ourselves back into a optimum healthy state.
mhm. And the best part with
Wonderful.
what I do is also that I do coaching, right? So it allows me to spend more time and sort of walk everybody through the steps. It takes 7 to 10 days to get the results.
Right.
Uh, and with the results, I can also help, every week or every other week, that just make sure that everybody's on the right track after I give the results, that they're doing what they need to do to have some sort of balance.
Right. So there's not like, there's your test, there's your
No.
answers. Okay, see you later. Bye.
No.
No, no.
What?
There's the
So
follow
if I
up.
can
There's the
just,
help.
Mhm.
yeah, if we can just add up, to me, hair mineral analysis, what it did for my practice is made
Mm-hmm.
the patient and my practice more accountable. Because a
Right.
lot of people, like may say, they're coming, they want to do, you know, whatever diet plan is in season,
Yes.
whatever. And sometimes I said, with all due respect, you're not fit for that. And that it not just from your genetics point of view, but also where you are in your life at the moment.
Right.
Yeah.
And so by doing the hair analysis, it gives you a snapshot what it is at this moment,
Mm-hmm.
and then it makes you accountable to make sure that the advice or coaching that you get from May, it makes you accountable to that because you want to see those numbers getting better.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
If they're not getting better, then there's something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it takes a lot of time. They think it's just, oh, I did this hair mineral analysis with so and so, and just mail me the answers or the report and sold me a whole bunch of vitamins or supplements. And I
Mm-hmm.
said, what about your diet? What about your sleep? What about everything else? Oh, no, they never touched that. And I go, well, that's what you get paid. That's what you get for,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then I explain what I do, and they're like, oh my God, you mean this has to do with my hormones? This has to do with my quality of life? This is how I have to manage my stress? That's
Mm-hmm.
right,
It
because it's
does.
showing right there.
So we're getting just up health. Totally. Totally. Now, are there a lot of practitioners, homeopaths or naturopaths that do this analysis? Because quite honestly, I had never heard of it before I talked to May about it.
So like I said, my first introduction was from the clinical side.
Mm-hmm.
So I have always used it, and I was very fortunate to be mentored by Dr. Joe Wallach and others that are very clinical based, meaning that, for example, someone who is in adrenal fatigue, you have to give a very therapeutic dose of nutrients
Mm-hmm.
in order for them to restore their deficiency or get rid of the heavy metal toxicity.
Mm-hmm.
At the present time, I would say the majority of clinicians only use or only know about hair mineral analysis due to the heavy metal toxicity profile.
Right.
The main one in Canada seems to be mercury because we tend to eat a lot of fish, but also copper, cadmium for those that love cannabis or cigarette smoking.
Mm-hmm.
But I get everything because, arsenic from construction workers. I get beryllium from people that are very acidic. I get the welders. I get the military guys, lead, that have been exposed to a lot of lead. And
Wow.
lead is a very dangerous one because it can store on the bone. So, then I find someone who is premenopause, only having arthritis and,
Mm-hmm.
anything like that. And we see the hair mineral analysis and there's a whole bunch of lead. And I'm like, interesting. So when we start leaching those minerals, heavy metals out, you do need to be followed by a qualified practitioner that understands not only how to open the amentres, opening the detoxification organs, but also how to pace you with your nutrition, your stress, your supplementation, so that you don't have, I hate this term, but it's what is used, is healing crisis.
Yeah.
And I said, no, it's not a crisis. It's just getting better. You're just getting rid of everything that, the body doesn't need. That's
Right.
what's making you sick, right? But
Mm-hmm.
so that's why you need to have someone that you can call in and say, I'm having hot flashes. But you're only 30. He goes, no, that's not a hot flash. That's a panic attack,
Yeah.
So little things like that.
Yes. Wow,
So
this has been so informative, and I would love to have you back again. Unfortunately, we're out of time for today, but like I said, I have a million more questions to ask. But May, tell us a little bit about October the 9th coming up. You're coming into the spa, and you're going to offer some consultations, and tell us what that's going to look like.
Okay, so I was planning on coming in on the Saturday the 9th and having, hopefully, whoever's watching or whoever's going to be watching later, if they have a slight interest, I would like to, introduce them to it and give them a complimentary analysis, half an hour, and then, have them test it if they'd like and see where their health, journey is at, and then see if they would like to, proceed with, a program where I can follow up with them precisely.
That's awesome. I look forward to that day.
Mm-hmm.
And Rodolfo, I hope to meet you in person one of these days. Maybe once we can host events. Back in the day, we used to host information seminars here at the spa and invite guests like yourself in and have, a chance that everyone can hear the information and make informed decisions. I'm all about teaching. Informed
Mm-hmm.
decisions, I don't like to push anything on anyone, but at least if you have the knowledge, then you know what to do with it. So hopefully one
Absolutely.
day we can line something up like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm open to it. I'm not, I'm one of those crazy people that I don't live in fear. So I never, I had to close it initially for 3 months, but after that I said no.
Yeah.
I know the power of your immune system.
Yeah.
You don't need to be afraid. Strengthen your immune system, get fresh air, get exercise, get your body back into the optimal mode.
Yeah.
And so whenever you want, just give me time in advance.
I know how busy you are. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And regarding the seminar, is for clinicians, anybody who wants to learn how to interpret it, hair mineral analysis. That's the course for them, because it's not just about the basic, but it's what does it mean? How to identify common problems, how to detoxify, how to regulate things, and So if you're a clinician, if any sort, you're welcome. CanAlt is going to be hosting that.
That's good to know. I will share that information. Absolutely. Okay,
Thank you.
May, before we head out, you have a little giveaway for our audience today.
Yes,
Can
absolutely.
you tell us about it?
Yeah, so I would love to gift a free pantry. I call it a pantry detox because a lot of us, we struggle with emotional eating, and when we have the wrong foods in our pantry, we tend to eat that, right? So I was hoping that I could help anyone who ruffle, I don't know how you're gonna do it, but I would like to give 2 hours of my time to help somebody revamp their pantry.
Oh, that is so kind of you. Well, my little helper here, little Miss Jazzy, she's been keeping track of who has been viewing us today. And what we do is we put it all on a wheel just to make it, fair for everyone. And I'm just going to click the wheel now and we'll tell you who the winner is.
Great.
And myself or Jazzy will get a hold of the person. We'll definitely send you the information, May, so that you guys can connect. Okay?
That's excellent.
Okay. So our winner is Brenda Kuipers. Is that you? And why haven't I seen you in my Pilates class, Brenda? Okay, Brenda, we're going to get a hold of you and tell you how you can hook up with May. And May will also give you the information and you guys can set it up together, okay?
Great.
I'd like to thank both of you guys for joining me today. That was awesome. I learned so much again. And again, I would advise anyone to have this hair mineral analysis test done. It can't help but help you, right? It can't help but help you. All right.
If you're taking supplements, you need to know what you're taking, and you need to know how it's affecting your body.
That too. And, not to start up again, but there are different quality of supplements too, but that's a whole nother segment.
Yes.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so stay tuned. Next week, we will have our Reiki practitioner, Tej, and she is going to give us a demonstration on our newest treatment, a Reiki facial. So I hope to see everyone next week. Thank you again, May and Rodolfo, for joining us today. Everyone have an awesome day, and we'll see you next week. Ciao for now. Bye-bye.
Take care. Thank you for having me.
No problem.
Bye.
Bye-bye.